'Tis I, Rose. Today we are talking about James Noir's Hollywood Crimes for the Nintendo 3DS. Rose, what's that? I've never played that before. Don't you worry your pretty little head, we're gonna get ass deep into that plot. In short, it's a noir mystery puzzle-solving game, and for anybody who likes puzzles, I would recommend that you play it. But this isn't a review. This is a in-depth plot spoiling, because this game is ridiculous, and I would like everybody to know, in detail, how ridiculous it is. We open very dark and gritty with some classic noir-typical narration over some sweeping shots of Los Angeles, I guess. Then we get into some jazzy opening credits, presumably for The Incredible Puzzle Masters, which is a show that you are auditioning for. It's a puzzle-solving game show hosted by Glenn Darnby, some cheesy schmuck, and produced by Trudy Mills, a no-nonsense business lady. Trudy has you fill out a registration form and take your audition photo. You solve an entry puzzle and meet Marcus White, who will be your future competitor. Weeks later, you get a call that you have been invited to participate in The Incredible Puzzle Masters. Over the phone, Glenn lets out this little Freudian slip.
I know you'll be a valuable contestant for me. I mean, for us.
Okay, Glenny. Apparently you and Marcus will be competing alternate weeks to see who can accumulate the most points over the course of the show, because that's how you keep an audience on the edge of their seats. Not keeping the competitors in the same room. The show begins. Glenn introduces Monique, who's basically that woman on Wheel of Fortune who like traipses around the stage smacking letters on the screen while wearing a ball gown. What a dream job, honestly. Glenn explains the rules of the show and announces that the prize for this season is an all-expenses-paid trip around the world for 1 year. You solve a few puzzles and win round 1 because the game gives you as many chances as you need and as much time as you need to meet or beat Marcus's score. The front page of the Hollywood Report the next day names you a possible goldmine for Puzzle Masters producers. Ah, this game is a hoot. After the show, Glenn takes you for a drink, which apparently he does with all new contestants. Definitely not trying to get into your pants or anything. On TV, you see Police Captain Dawson addressing some bizarre murders that have been taking place in Hollywood. Bizarre because puzzles are being left at each crime scene. Back at your table in the bar, somebody comes over and shows something to Glenn and tells him to get lost. Who could it be? FBI agent Matt Booker, as well as your old college roommate? I guess he and I shared an apartment? Then again, it's 1961. We all know what roommates really means.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Lieutenant Matt Booker is working on the murders that you just saw on TV, and he needs your help. The victims are former puzzle champions from The Incredible Puzzle Masters. Oh my god, you're a potential victim. Oh my god, you're gonna die. Just kidding. I'm sure that your federal agent ex-boyfriend Matt, who's clearly still in love with you, will protect you. I just know it. No, that's not canon to this game, but I did take all of 10 seconds to come up with a romantic backstory for this guy. Matt asks you to solve a few puzzles that were found at the crime scenes, which you do, because they're not that hard. And yet the Federal Bureau of Investigations couldn't figure them out. Or at the very least, they felt the need to consult you, of all people. The puzzles give an address in the Hollywood Hills where the second victim was found on the roof of his house. You solve a few more murder puzzles which yield some mysterious numbers that Matt and the boys are gonna investigate. Matt reminds you to be careful because you could be in danger. Well, yeah, Matt, I sure could be now that you've involved me in this case. I'm a civilian. But how sweet of you to express concern for me. But also, how dare you try and waltz back into my life after cheating on me with that tramp? You are not getting your ring back, I pawned it! End of chapter 1. Chapter 2 starts with you in the dressing room of the studio. Marcus stops by to brag about how easy it was to solve the puzzles of his round. Yeah, what an accomplishment. Then again, considering how dense the FBI is, maybe puzzle solving is some genius level talent that's genuinely invigorating for an audience to watch. Marcus invites you for a drink after the show to get as far away from Glenn Darnby as possible. Right, the aim is to get away from Glenn Darnby and not into my pants. I see you, Marcus. Don't think I don't. Trudy swings by to tell you to get your cute ass on stage. Trudy! I am having a wonderful day today. It must be the haircut. Round 2 goes by without a hitch, and later in your hotel room that night, you get a call from Marcus, who tells you,
Man, you were great last night.
You weren't too bad yourself, hotshot.
How about that drink?
Oh, so the drink hasn't happened yet, and therefore you and I haven't... Oh, noted?
You wonder how I got the name of your hotel, right? Well, I solve puzzles for a living.
First of all, Marcus, you mean to tell me that you and I aren't in the same hotel? Are you a local or something? Second, solving puzzles for a living isn't that special, okay? I'm doing it, my ex-boyfriend's doing it. Actually, I'm doing it for his living right now. Wow, just like old times. Just like 10 years ago when he'd come home from boozing with his friends at 1/2 way too late and then I would have to help him study. Never mind the fact that I had the same exam the next morning. But then, I mean, he always made up for it, and eventually he did decide that he had to come home earlier because he could afford only so many apology bottles of my favorite champagne. And he did come home earlier. For a while. Marcus, are you still on the phone? Oh my god. Oh no, you hung up. Cool. Who is it now? Matt! Matt's in the lobby right now and he needs you. Your help, rather. Solving puzzles. Minutes later, you're in the car and there is absolutely no sexual tension whatsoever. He tells you that the numbers you got from earlier puzzles were the coordinates for a movie theater in Beverly Hills, which is where you're headed to now, I guess. Matt, have you thought this through? You're telling me that you expect to find a victim there, which is bad enough, but like, the killer could be there as well. Is there gonna be any backup? No? Then he says this, kind of out of the blue.
Look, it was my fault. We were a little crazy back then. Let's forget it.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot to work with there, and yet so little. Sure, we were a little crazy, I'll give you that, but that's what happens when you're young and in love. And yet after you proposed, it felt like we weren't in love anymore. It was like the effort was completely gone after you got that ring on me. I know I'm the one who pushed for us to get engaged, but ultimately you were the one who asked. And after I realized that you weren't quite ready to get married, I didn't know how to tell you that that was okay. That I could wait, that I might not be as ready as I thought I was. I kept waiting to tell you, and waiting until... Well, you know what happened. You know damn well. And that wasn't my fault. That was all you. You're right about that much. And I get it, you were just looking for a way out. She meant nothing to you, but it made me wonder if I meant nothing to you too. Time out, I've never been in a relationship and I don't know where any of this is coming from.
If we can't be friends, I understand. But we have to find a way of making this work.
Yeah, we do have to make it work. For the kids! Just kidding, there's no kids. I haven't complicated it that much. I mean, I could've. Matt stops at a gas station, and while he's doing whatever, probably glory holing, you look into his glove compartment box because he was acting very suspicious about it earlier. Inside, you find a file from a psychiatric hospital with your name on it. The file states that you are unhealthily obsessed with puzzles and details a major breakdown that you suffered in 1958 leading to an extended stay in this hospital. I have to read off my notes for this one. It also diagnoses you with schizophrenia, with the potential for psychotic behavior and being prone to acute linked episodes of severe amnesia. Well, that's fun. Yeah, writing that whole spiel down made me feel like I was in high school again, so thanks for that, James Noir. Anyway, we're like a threat to society and we lack a full cognitive grasp on our actions and consequences, because that's what everyone with schizophrenia is like. Every last one of them. You and Matt haul ass to the movie theater and it's really dark inside, so he tells you to go upstairs and hit a spotlight while he calls for backup? Matt, I know I'm potentially some really violent mentally ill person, but like, who cheated on who here? Don't you think you owe it to me to not leave me alone in the dark, vulnerable to a potential murderer's attacks? Also, I'm a civilian!
Don't try to be a hero. Call if you need me.
Boy, I swear to God, our children would have been so stupid. You solve some puzzles to go up the stairs, turn on the light, and dun dun dun!
This is madness.
No, Matt, this is Sparta. Rose 2008 called, they want their joke back.
Take a look around while I find out who he was.
Take a look, Matt! Just because I studied criminal justice, do you know why I never joined the feds? Because dead bodies are icky. I do not want to be here right now. Quelle surprise, the victim turns out to be a former puzzle champion. Anybody else forget that we were on a puzzle game show? Because I sure did. You solve a puzzle that has your face on it. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o.
Looks like he's obsessed with you.
Good old Matt. Sharp as a tack, that one.
Calm down, it's okay. The killer has got to go through me to get to you.
That intensity in his eyes, it's just like that time that frat guy tried to take me upstairs. Matt nearly laid him out right then and there. Then he laid me out later that night. Hey-o! Matt reminds you that this is your audition picture, so the murderer could be working on the show. Oh, well, great. I definitely want to go back there. Oh, that's what we're doing next? Cool. You whoop Marcus's ass in round 3, and that is the end of chapter 2. That's kind of confusing. Chapter 3 starts with you and Matt sitting on a bench overlooking a cliff. Well, this isn't romantic or anything.
Man, did we have fun in this place. With those girls and that crate of rum.
Yeah, we had a fun little musical kind of bottle blowing, like whoo, like kind of, we had a foursome. Matt shows you a puzzle that was found inside the body of the victim, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations needs you to solve it. The solution is a bunch of numbers that Matt tells you he's gonna figure out, but I don't know if I trust that. He reiterates to you the danger of the situation. You kick ass in round 4 of the Incredible Puzzle Masters. 2 weeks later, right before round 5, Glenn is talking to you in your dressing room about Trudy and the recent murders. He says that Trudy was talking to all 3 of the puzzle champions about selling the show overseas, and that she needed their signatures in order to sell the show, even though they were contestants and have absolutely no say in whether or not the show gets sold. So either she was using that as an excuse to murder them, or she's just horribly incompetent at her job. Honestly, with Matt's behavior, that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, Glenn is awfully quick to point fingers. Don't think I don't see you, buddy boy. Glenn leaves you a puzzle to solve, which you do, and then you open an unrelated box with tickets to the World Series in it. Then Marcus stops by to tell you that he can make puzzles better than that. Then Trudy stops by to tell you that she needs you to sign some papers so she can sell the show overseas. Wait, I need to sign papers now? I'm just a contestant. I feel like all of these characters have a nasty habit of over-exaggerating my importance or my position in something. I'm not sure how Trudy doesn't know that I'm not a producer, or that Matt doesn't know that I'm not a federal agent. Like, you guys are hitting me with a lot of responsibility that I am not qualified for. Also, what was Marcus doing here just now? Don't he and I film during separate weeks? Round 5 of the Incredible Puzzle Masters, whatever, you get it. Matt meets you in the lobby of your hotel and drags you out to some house that matches the address from one of the solutions of the earlier puzzles. And you used to live there? But you don't remember it? Matt, it's past my bedtime. Wait, I owned a house in Hollywood? What the hell do I do for a living? You solve some puzzles to get inside, and then there you are, in a murderer's house, with no backup. You, a civilian. You solve another puzzle to open a trap door in a hallway, and then you go through the trap door?
Go ahead. I'm right behind.
What? I'm a civilian! You know your duty is to protect the general public. Look, it's me. I'm the general public. Matt, this isn't our first date on Halloween at the drive-in when we saw a double feature of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu, and I pretended to be scared so I could cuddle you, and then things happened in the back seat. This is real shit. This is a murderer's house. Real talk, this is one of my favorite parts of the game, if not my favorite part of the game because of how creepy and disturbing it is. You solve more puzzles which lead to a secret room with some sort of shrine to the Incredible Puzzle Masters, as well as the trophies of the 3 previous victims / winners of the show.
Looks conclusive from where I'm standing. You don't remember doing any of this, do you?
Well, no, probably because I didn't do it. Not only because I know a red herring when I see one, but also because I don't live here.
According to the city, this house is still yours. You can't hide what you are anymore.
I know I'm not supposed to be, you know, completely all right upstairs, but are you telling me that I own this house, yet I still live far enough away that I have to fly into Hollywood in order to film the Incredible Puzzle Masters? And what, did I fly out here specifically to kill the former puzzle champions? Admittedly, coming out to compete on the show would be a good ruse if literally anything else about this scenario made any degree of sense.
I'm gonna get some cops out here. You can run, but I don't recommend it.
Aren't you a cop? Can't you arrest me? Handcuff me, Mr. Special Agent. It'll be just like old times. Chapter 4 begins, and you have been found guilty of multiple murders and are now serving life in prison. I would like to know what sort of evidence proved me guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of 3 homicides. Like, besides the house. Actually, speaking of the house, do they know that I don't live there? That I somehow forgot to sell it after I moved and now it's open for squatting and murder plotting and shrine building? You're 4 months into your life sentence and you solve some deliciously creepy puzzles for no reason. Also, there are a couple of Jack-in-the-Box puzzles which open up to reveal pictures of Marcus, Glenn, and Monique for some reason. You wake up in your cell where a guard has a letter for you.
Grab it, or I'll give it to Godzilla in the next cell.
You can't give my mail to somebody else. That's a federal crime. I know, of all the atrocities that prison guards and wardens have been known to commit, this is kind of one of the tamer ones, but still, the letter turns out to be from the real puzzle killer who's holding Matt hostage. No! Matt! I never told him that I kept the ring after all these years. I never sold it. With the help of the letter, you solve so many puzzles to get out of the prison, and that's the end of Chapter 4. Chapter 5, you're on a roadside and the killer's notes lead you to an abandoned car. It's Matt Booker's car, and in the trunk is a change of clothes, a radio, and a map. You unscramble the radio signal and hear the killer giving you instructions on coming back into Hollywood. So you head back to LA and back to the studio where The Incredible Puzzle Masters is filmed. You get a new message from the killer as well as from Matt.
It's me. It's Matt. I'm okay. Get out of here. Don't try to...
That's enough. Time for my show. My victory.
Matt, of course I'm going to save you. If I don't, who will? You couldn't FBI agent your way out of a paper bag. You solve some more puzzles to get into the studio, and you find a way to call the cops even though the killer disabled the phone lines. You go through a hallway to find Matt alive and well. Matt, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I swear once we get out of here, I am having your babies.
Ah, thank God you're here.
Huh?
Okay, so I'm not a Fed, I'm the killer.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Look, it hasn't been easy since you and I had our differences.
You cheated on me, mister. Matt tells you that he fell apart and spent some time in a soft white hospital. So presumably the files that he had in his glove compartment weren't yours, they were his or somebody else's, that he just put your name on them. So you don't have amnesia. So that house doesn't belong to you, which is a shame. It's a nice house. So Matt forged some sort of document making you the owner of the house, and a judge looked at it and found it legit. Once again, considering how bad everybody is at their job, this doesn't surprise me. And speaking of, no wonder Matt's such a god-awful FBI agent, because he's just pretending to be one. He could have pretended better, though.
You gotta understand, I had to find a way of bringing us back together.
You cheated on me!
And now you know what it's like to be locked up like I was. The only difference is, you don't know what it's like to be a killer. And I don't want that distance between us.
Well, Matt, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess that those 3 puzzle masters were your first murders. 'Cause you haven't exactly been shy about taking credit for all of your misdeeds. Before this, we had being non-murderers between us. That was a thing we had in common. And then you created that distance by killing people, and now you want me to make that up? Well, you know, I've also never cheated on anybody. You want me to close that distance for you too? Matt hits you with the following stakes in this final round of The Incredible Puzzle Masters.
If you win, you kill me, and we're alike. If you lose, you're not worthy, and you die.
I am so pawning your ring after this. Whatever money I get is going towards a male escort. Basically, Matt will either electrocute you or himself depending on your puzzle solving skills. You eventually solve a satisfactory amount of puzzles in this round of death. Matt is happy as a clam, ready and willing to electrocute himself, but all of a sudden the Popo show up. Captain Dawson arrests both you and Matt as you're an escaped prisoner. But that's gonna be a fun ride in the back of the police cruiser. Obviously, they wouldn't put you in the same car, but can you imagine? 3 months later, and you are in the dressing room of the studio ready to compete in a bonus round of The Incredible Puzzle Masters. Captain Dawson is with you, and he thanks you for helping catch the puzzle killer. He also apologizes for, you know, falsely imprisoning you because his investigation was crap. Which I'm sure it was, but you didn't put me in jail. A judge and a jury did. Somehow, even though there was no evidence. Marcus stops by to tell you good luck and that he's leaving tomorrow for his, year-long, all-expenses-paid trip around the world, which he won by default because you were, incarcerated. Trudy comes by as well and says this.
Listen, I know you're a star now, and thanks for all the money we'll win because of you.
Is she talking about ratings? That's an odd way to say that. Captain Dawson briefly hits on her, which isn't creepy at all, and then you enter your bonus round of the Incredible Puzzle Masters. They're giving you an extra chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip around the world as a thank you for catching the puzzle killer. You're welcome? I mean, all I really did was hang out with this dude a couple of times, and then I was in jail, and then I got out, and he kidnapped me and forced me to solve some puzzles. So I did. Screw it, I could use a year-long trip around the world. You win the round, and Glenn tells you to have fun on your travels. Back in your dressing room, Trudy reminds you that you have to sort out your contract, presumably regarding selling the show overseas. Trudy, I don't own the rights to the show. You can sell it with or without my consent. She also has a package and a letter for you. From the county prison, no less. Gee, who do we know who was arrested recently? Inside the box is a puzzle, which you of course solve, revealing a brick from the very cell that you were in, as well as the puzzle that helped you to escape it. Implying that Matt has escaped. Ooh, the end. Sounds pretty good, right? I certainly enjoyed my time playing it. This game's jam-packed with fun, relatively easy puzzles, a colorful cast of characters, and fun, creepy moments. The only thing I really didn't like about it was who the murderer turned out to be. It was unexpected, I'll give him that, but at what cost? By a long shot, Matt is the character we spend the most time with, and the reveal that he was the puzzle killer left me hurt, confused, and betrayed. Also, I've got a thing for detectives, even though Matt's not a real detective. But I want him to be one. I also prefer the idea of Matt being in actual danger and his much smarter ex-fiancée, who he's still clearly in love with and is still clearly in love with him, coming to rescue him. This got me thinking, if I could rewrite the ending so that Matt wasn't the puzzle killer, what would I do? My mind then jumped to the 1985 movie Clue. It's a fun romp based on the board game, and spoiler, it has 3 different endings all pertaining to who the killer could be. If you have the DVD, like I do, you can watch either a randomly generated ending or all 3, and if you've never seen it, I recommend watching all 3, because the 3rd ending is the best one. This made me think, what if James Noir's Hollywood Crimes had a different randomly generated ending where a different character was the killer each time? Well, the short answer is it would be infuriating because it takes several hours of gameplay before you can find out who the killer is. Now let's get into the long answer. First of all, in order for Matt to not be the killer, he has to be an actual FBI agent. Just a really incompetent one. See, the way the characters act in the actual stories leading up to the climax can't change. Only the climax can change, which means that we have to justify all kinds of unnecessary bullshit. Rose, that sounds really convoluted. You bet your sweet keister it is. Alright, let's go through all the possibilities from worst to best. Worst ending. You are the puzzle killer. It's very obvious, and the game would end like right after you get arrested. Second worst ending. Glenn Darnby is the puzzle killer. I mean, this would make hosting your bonus round a little complicated, but whatever. Glenn is kind of extremely boring. I could barely conjure up any motive for him besides he's not the sharpest crayon in the box. So he tries to surround himself with smart people, thinking that it'll make him smart, like through osmosis. Also, he wants like some sort of personality injected into him. He has tried to sleep with every single puzzle master, and he is just tired of rejection. And then that hotshot FBI agent saunters over to your table, taking your time away from Glenn, and in that moment, Glenn knew it was over for the both of you. I like to imagine him getting all Phantom of the Opera with it and trying to, like, kind of reverse hang Matt from the ceiling, like with a Punjab lasso, but his efforts are really pathetic, and it makes you wonder how he managed to murder 3 people before this. Must have been sneak attacks or something. And instead of a moment like, "Pitiful creature of darkness, What kind of life have you known? You kind of just smack him across the face. Any puzzles that he makes you solve is more to distract you so he can buy more time for his bullshit. Middle of the road ending. Marcus White is the puzzle killer. Solely because I love to imagine this sniveling little turd's murder monologue.
I've been auditioning for the Incredible Puzzle Masters every year that it's been on, and I never had my chance. And now that I have my chance, you've been ruining it.
Marcus, didn't you win your trip around the world already? I was in jail, remember?
It doesn't count. I need a true victory. Also, you won the popular vote.
Wait, so the general public thought that I was a literal murderer and they still preferred me over you? Wow. Second best ending, Trudy Mills is the puzzle killer. None of the champions would sign their contracts. I had to take them out. Okay, so the former contestants of the Incredible Puzzle Masters, who are no longer participating in the show, have some sort of signing power in selling the show to Europe? I mean, what happens when you sign on? Do you immediately get shares in the show? Best ending, Monique is the puzzle killer. Do you guys remember Monique? She is just as brilliant as any other puzzle champion, if not more so, and she is tired of being seen as just a pretty face. Added bonus, if you're a lady such as myself, Monique wanted to be the first female puzzle champion, but you got in her way. Side note, Trudy and Marcus go pretty traditional when they're threatening Matt. They probably use a gun or something, but Monique has gone all out. She's got him, like, tied to a chair, suspended from the ceiling over a pit of motorized spikes. Monique, that looks pretty labor-intensive. Did you do all that yourself in the 4 months that I've been in jail? Monique has gone full femme fatale, elbow-length black gloves, and ridiculous, like, comically long cigarette holder and all. And I am here for every second of it. Step on me, Monique! What? Who said that? Whew, that's James Noir's Hollywood crimes for ya, as well as some of my own alternate endings. Rose, why don't you just write some fan fiction or something? Because fan fiction, like, doesn't know what this is. Nobody's ever played this game. Also, side note, I have no idea who James Noir is. Thank you so much for bearing with. I love you very much. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.